here to warn people. You keep telling me to shut up. This isn't a game.
From the front lines of the information war, it's Alex Jones.
I have marveled at Ted Cruz and how he's been hardcore, telling it like it is when faced with real tyranny. And I've been pointing out that Ted Cruz will become the leader of the Republican Party if the neocons aren't able to block him, if he continues with the hardcore rhetoric, which is based on what's actually happening. When you're faced with total tyranny and just absolute power grabbing, you have to counter it with what it is. Not be like, well, that sounds a little extreme to say Obama's trying to become a dictator, or stage Benghazi to ship weapons to Al-Qaeda, or stage Fast and Furious, or sold out the country to China. But now, this is coming up in the next segment, Rand Paul has demanded Democrats return money raised by, quote, sexual predator Bill Clinton. That's how you take these criminals down. You should get hardcore. And we have the video of Rand Paul saying that. I love it. We're going to have an arms race now of who can turn the rhetoric up. And notice the social engineers and the gatekeepers and the people that try to tell you how to think and what to do at MSNBC and CNN are always, it's discrediting to turn the rhetoric up. It's discrediting to be mean. It's discrediting to, use all these volatile terms while they use, you're a Klan member if you own a gun, and if you don't like Obamacare, it's because you hate black people. I mean, that's over-the-top, hardcore rhetoric based in lies. But Bill Clinton settled cases. If you followed this back in 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, like I did, on radio every day, where he would literally just rape women on a routine basis, break their jaws, beat the living daylights out of them. And he would settle the lawsuits. I'm not going to get into what he did to the women, but it included biting bloody chunks out of them. I mean, we're talking hardcore Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer type behavior, okay? And then if people spoke out about it, he'd have their arms broken. I'm telling you, though, I hope they don't blow up Rand Paul's airplane and when he's flying or something, because here's the issue. If we get everybody talking like this, they can't kill us all. That's why I love to get other talk show hosts on. I don't want to walk point in this thing. It's not because I don't even want to die. I want to win. We win by getting everybody telling the truth, everybody going public. The story is up on DrudgeReport.com, the place that broke the original Monica Lewinsky story that opened up all the sexual garbage. By the way, the word is, and I'm going to talk about this later, I've never met Jay Leno, but I know a lot of folks that know Jay Leno have been on his show. And they've told me Jay Leno brings up, hey, Alex Jones, you like him? I like his show. And then about a year ago, we got contacted by the Jay Leno people, one of their main producers. They said, well, Jay wants to get you on. He listens to the show every day, and we listen all the time and get a lot of material from the show. And I said, really? And they said, oh, you'd be surprised. But then later they said, no, it's too political. They won't let him. Well, that's the article out today, Infowars.com. Was Jay Leno canned by NBC for criticizing Obama? And he would make jokes that were just, completely obvious that, that, hey, there really is a big bro in Washington, and he really does listen through the NSA to you. And jokes like that. And, hey, he said you could keep your doctor, but now you can't keep it, but he never said you couldn't keep it, even though he said you could keep it. That's good comic material. And Jon Stewart's done it some, but his brother's the head of the New York Stock Exchange, and he's really kind of a made man. And everybody's turned against Obama, so he does a little bit of it, but he kind of makes it a joke. Jay Leno, here's the deal in Hollywood. If you're libertarian or conservative, you're gone. And they don't let you do it. See, Stewart's a liberal, so he's then allowed to attack Obama just because Obama's so unpopular. They're deserting the sinking ship. But Jay Leno is a libertarian, is a listener of the show. And I'm not saying that's the reason he's fired, but that just gives you an example of why they don't like him. Jay Leno's a really good guy from folks I know that know him.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
Judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
There is so much news going on. We've got former Congressman Bob Barr back on because I wanted to pick his brain about all the new scandals coming out and his move that got demonized in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution and on CNN and on MSNBC on this broadcast 2 weeks ago, saying he will move to impeach Obama if he's reelected to the Congress from the district outside Atlanta, just, I guess, northwest of Atlanta, going into Atlanta. And he is about 30 points ahead of all his competition right now in an uncontested race with the Democrats. So barring them killing him or setting him up, he's going to get back in. And people go, well, hey, Bob Barr was in Congress for a long time. What's the big deal? His time has now come. I can look at Rand Paul, I can look at Ted Cruz and their leadership that's absolutely delightful and buoying and heartening. And then I look at somebody like Bob Barr, it's just going to be incredible. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And I see this as more major players in the fight for true libertarian constitutional ideas. We can beat the globalists. They're not invincible, folks. We have to first understand we have the moral high ground. We have the history. We have the Americana. We have the way out of all the problems. The only problem is it will create so much prosperity that America will become so rich again that we'll become decadent slobs and become enslaved again. But we're kind of in that flux point right now. 4% of the world's population, half the world's wealth until the 1990s, and then they've drained about half that off now. We had the biggest middle class. In fact, the U.S. middle class, by some metrics, you can look this up, was bigger than all other middle classes combined. Now, until about the 1950s, Argentina had the biggest per capita middle class in the world. And there was a saying called, he's as rich as an Argentine. They got a corrupt kleptocratic government, devalued the currency, set up combines, monopolies. Argentina is a literal hell pit. I've talked to friends and family that have been there recently. Countryside, it's a beautiful country. Major cities, hell pit. And you can see this online, the photos and videos, good-looking families. These are not drunks or mentally ill people living in doorways all over the place. People that were formerly doctors, lawyers, you name it. They have taken a country just like America was and literally run it into the ground. Argentina had more money in 1900 per capita than the United States did in the 50s. And they have wrecked it. Absolutely, completely wrecked it. And that's a big bummer. There's not many places to go. I wish there were a bunch of free, rich countries. I love America, but man, if it falls, I want somewhere to go. And there isn't, except for Switzerland and a few Northern European countries, maybe Iceland. And it really bums me out to see this happening, to say the least, obviously. And so the gatekeepers, they want to sit there while they kleptocratically divide and conquer and subdivide and strip mine like a corporate takeover and sell off of our country. That's what's happened in Greece. That's what's happening here now. They're announcing in The Economist, it's literally published by the Rothschilds, controlled press, that, oh, we're going to sell off all the infrastructure, all the public land, but not sell it off. They're going to give it to the big banks going, oh, because, see, they sign us onto their debt and then turn it around and go, oh, we're in debt, but the big banks are going to emergency reorganize things, and now we're going to hand over all our infrastructure. I'm all for taking public lands, not so much the national parks. You keep those pristine, need a mix of things. But the 80% of the West, roughly, that's federal land, and opening it up to be literally given to people. How about you give veterans 1,000 acres? They've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of acres. How about you give veterans 1,000 acres tax-free for life? How about you give have a lottery program for people that have done good deeds that get nominated in every town and city to get state and federal land? Literally, folks, in most states, 60, 70, 80, 90% of the land is state or federal, and a mix of those. Some states are 96% state or federal. So you want to have privatization? Go west, young man. Haven't you been told? California's full of whiskey, women, and gold. That's what made this country great. That's why my ancestors came into Texas on both sides in 1829. Actually, one of them before that, William Ayers, David Ayers, and others. And when they came into Texas, and the Joneses and the Johnsons and the Browns came into Texas, all the same area as Texas where Texas was started, they came here and became Mexican citizens to get land at 3 cents an acre. And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. That's where the wealth is. But under Agenda 21, they want to force us all into these compact cities. And when you realize that Bill Clinton and Barack Obama and Rahm Emanuel, I mean, think about each one of those people. These are actual gutter-level thugs. I mean, Bill Clinton is an actual, total cokehead, nose like a vacuum cleaner, Roger Clinton said, guy who settled with a bunch of women where he'd have them at a dinner and say, step in the cloakroom with me for a second. He'd get a woman in, punch her in the face, bloody her nose, and then bite her lip with blood dripping. That's a high-tech rapist technique, by the way. Only real psychopaths know that. I hate to even talk about it and give people ideas. And you bite while you talk to them and you say, you take your panties off right now, I'm going to bite your lip off. You understand? I hate to talk like that, but that's what came out in court that Bill Clinton would do. Start strangling a woman, bite their face, and then Gloria Steinem and all of them, when this came out in the like 1997, 98, right during the impeachment, they all came to his aid because they're there to ruin women. Hillary's humiliation, how she swept Bill Clinton's affair under the carpet. And they all made it about the affair of Monica Lewinsky and Paula Jones and all the rest of this. I mean, I've interviewed the people who've been tortured and beaten up by Bill Clinton's folks. And so I told Don Salazar to go dig up some of those names and people and you know, who it happened to and put it in the article. There's a story up on Drudge that's from the Washington Times. Rand Paul demands Dems return money raised by sexual predator Bill Clinton. We're going to play the video in a moment. But that's it. Why always be on the defense while they arrest Dinesh D'Souza and while they arrest governors for no reason, who's a rising star against Hillary. And I don't like Chris Christie, but they're like obsessing over some bridge deal and all the rest of it while Democrats do stuff literally 1,000 times worse. And again, I'm a big critic of Republicans when they're in office as well, and of Boehner and all of them. My thing is the Democrats really are the gutter scum of the earth. I don't mean the well-meaning camp followers. And they really are gangsters. And Gloria Steinem and all these fake feminists do not have the moral high ground. They are not consistent about women's rights. They are not consistent about anybody's rights. Somebody like Camille Paglia is consistent. These people are not feminists, okay? They don't want women owning guns. They don't want women empowered. I have 2 daughters. I want them to be the most informed, educated, healthy, smart, dynamic, armed, beautiful, vicious, 21st century caveman women. Because I'm a caveman too, folks. I'm natural. I've got my instincts. I want to be like that. And I want my son to be powerful and strong because I want to be free. And so the media is trying to act like it's outrageous, but the media is out of bullets, folks. They're out of political bullets. That's what I told Politico years ago when Rand Paul got elected. I said, listen, don't you get it? You need to endorse Rand Paul to destroy Rand Paul. Even if you don't like him, your endorsement will destroy him because the people run like the plague from the New York Times, and so they fence it out into Politico, and then people run from that. They're running from you. We're sick of you. We know you're a bunch of con artists, globalist crooks, and thugs, and a gang using social engineering to sabotage society so you can rule the pile of crud. And the answer is Bob Barr saying if he gets back in, he's going to impeach Obama. He's the guy that introduced the articles of impeachment with Shippers and the rest of them. The answer is have Ted Cruz go with the jugular. The answer is have Rand Paul go with the jugular. The answer is have Alex Jones go with the jugular. And Matt Drudge go with the jugular. And Joseph Farah go with the jugular. And Glenn Beck go with the jugular. Listen, we're not going to beat these people playing games and quarter measures. We've got to all in, Move the Overton window back to reality. They've got it all extreme where if you criticize 5-year-olds being taught how to be transvestites or transgender, you're a homophobe. Or, you know, if you don't want 5-year-olds being taught how to have anal sex, you're a homophobe. Or if you don't want to give illegal aliens free everything when no other country does that and we're going bankrupt, you hate Mexicans. It's all them with fake moral high ground. We have all the ammo, Benghazi and NSA and IRS and just all the lying and the cheating and Obamacare and the fraud and all of it to totally destroy these people, overthrow the Republican establishment, have the libertarians take over and literally save the country. Or if they keep taking over and we lose this round, they'll all just get the blame, the globalists. And so we'll just win in the next round because resistance is victory. Never giving up is victory. We're just as good as the scum that runs the New World Order. We're better. We just don't cheat like them. Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants.
Here are some of the amazing deals at InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest times. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salads, salsa, peppers, medical herbs, and more.
Go to the InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
And remember, the revolution against tyranny is growing. Many anthropologists, 1,500 Hollywood people, the New York Times reported 3 weeks ago, are in a secret society of libertarians and conservatives. And now the IRS is trying to find out a list of names to persecute them. I knew about this secret society 5 years ago. They call it a secret society. All it is conservatives meeting in secret, talking about ways to try to put libertarian ideas, or really the libertarians, into films, movies. I went and saw Nut Job with my children a few weeks ago, and I guarantee you that's a libertarian made that. It's all about Agenda 21, all about the government controlling the food, all about food stamps. Really a good movie for your children to see, I think. And the fact is, if I was a liberal, communist, socialist, well-meaning person, not one of the social engineer types, I would be freaked out if libertarians and conservatives were being persecuted. When Bush did a little bit of persecution, I came out against him real hard. And I called for Bush's impeachment over the NSA spying. And things like that. It's just that now, who can deny that under Obama, it is just off the charts? And they want to have the moral high ground where they can run scam energy deals in Benghazi and persecute people with the NSA and the IRS. And now they're back with the IRS persecuting people and have this reign of terror. And be arresting filmmakers and persecuting people. This is real. This is real. They want to keep media on a short leash. And we have the article up on Infowars.com where Jay Leno, Paul Watson asked the question, was Jay Leno canned by NBC for criticizing Obama? And I should call Watson, and I'll go ahead and talk about this. I mean, we have the emails, the calls. I mean, I can prove it if people want me to, but we were contacted by Jay Leno's people repeatedly, a couple years ago and then late last year. And he was going to try to sneak me on there, try to get me on the schedule. He talked about me many times on the air over the years. Jay Leno was the first national person. I've been on a few national shows, but in 1999, he talked about some of the stuff I was doing. It was very obscure, very weird. No one knew why I did it. No one knew who I was. Jay Leno obviously did it. And now I've learned the last few years that Jay Leno, again, we'll come back and visit people in the powder room, in the, what do you call it, the areas they have and that's not the green rooms, the dressing rooms. And they walk around and say hi to the guests in the in the dressing rooms, and he's brought me up to quite a few people. And again, it's not like the show's even that big a deal anymore in media. It's just that the ratings were actually going up compared to other shows, and the word is they canned him because, again, he was not a total communist. He was not a total authoritarian. He was a free market guy, and they got rid of him. And this is what they do, just like James Woods said he's been told since he criticized Obama he'll never work again. This is a guy that made $15, $20, $30 million a year. This is a big deal. So when Rand Paul comes out and says Obama's a sexual predator, excuse me, Freudian slip, Clinton's a sexual predator, that's the type of rhetoric we need because it's true, and it gives us the offensive instead of just laying there and taking it from these crooks that sit there and lecture us. What about how Bill Clinton keeps half the money on record from the charities for his private jet fleet and his houses for kids in Haiti? He's a scumbag. Call him out. Here's Rand Paul talking about it on C-SPAN.
Senator, let me follow up on 2 final points. First of all, you made some headlines when you referred to former President Bill Clinton as, quote, a sexual predator, and one of your colleagues, Senator Claire McCaskill, said that your comments were, in her words, infuriating. Your reaction?
Well, Senator McCaskill needs to remember what she had to say about Bill Clinton, that she wouldn't want her daughter in the same room with him. So they can't have it both ways. The Democrats can't say, oh, we're the great defenders of women's rights in the workplace, and we will defend you against some kind of abusive boss that uses their position of authority to take advantage of a young woman, when the leader of their party, the leading fundraiser in the country, is Bill Clinton, who was a perpetrator of that kind of sexual harassment. You know, so they can't have it both ways. And so I really think that anybody who wants to take money from Bill Clinton or have a fundraiser has a lot of explaining to do. In fact, I think they should give the money back. If they want to take a position on women's rights, by all means do, but you can't do it and take it from a guy who is using his position of authority to take advantage of young women in the workplace. I mean, for goodness sakes, he paid an $800,000 fine for sexual harassment. So he admitted to it in one court case, and really, I think, has been convicted in the public place for the other sexual harassment.
And because his crimes are so outrageous, no one will even talk about what came out in the news, settling cases for raping women, biting them, beating them up, choking them.
Now you can watch the InfoWars Nightly News streaming live as it happens for free.
Check it out at Infowars.com/show.